Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the latest version of Citizens View. I just surprised everybody and say, hey, we're live. Welcome to this episode of Citizens View, and this is brought to you by nwieducate.com. I am your host, Robert Hebert. I'd love to introduce our guest today. As you well know, to my right, we have Pastor Tyler.
Hi, everybody.
And how would you like to be addressed on camera?
Well, Raz, just Raz.
Raz. All right, Mr. Raz. And of course, as you know, I'm Bob Hebert. Today we're going to be continuing our conversation that we've had and that you seem to respond to very, very well. Is this the new norm? So when we talk about is this the new norm, it's about the human condition. And this is very, very inspirational. We talk about Christian conversations. When we took God out of school in the late 90s, within 2 years, we started having, mass incidents.
Yes.
When we started questioning God in our system, our country was founded as a Christian country and all other religions were supposedly tolerated.
Mm-hmm.
Where now we got to us, we have God, excuse me for using that language, we have come to a point where we're so worried about offending or standing for something that we now seems to be standing for nothing. We used to be a Christian country, all other religions tolerated. Now, I don't want to offend this person, I don't want to offend that person. I have no discredit to any religion. It's just we have to stand for something. We are a Christian country, we stand for Christianity, and we welcome all other religions, and we tolerate all other religions. If somebody doesn't like that, well, that's no problem. Go home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean to be so blunt about it,
Right.
but the Prime Minister of Australia once said that just a few years ago. She said, look, if you don't like the way it is here, leave.
Mm-hmm.
We have to stand for something because it seems as though as a country we've gone to a point where nobody even knows what being an American stands for anymore.
Right.
Well, you know what they do in other countries, like in China. You have to respect their politics. You have to respect their religious outlooks, and things like this. So if you have to do it in other countries, why not do it over here too?
But doesn't that make sense? I agree with you, 10,000%. See, you have fundamentals. You have
Right.
basic standards that we have to stand for, is what Raz was saying. And if, like we have the Constitution, we have the Bill of Rights, we have, certain local laws, we have to stand for something. And, like you're saying in China, you have to stand for these are the rules, and how you vary outside those rules, as long as those rules are followed, is up to you. You have that freedom of individuality.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying go Gattaca, you know what I mean? I'm not saying go crazy here. I'm just saying we were much more stable.
Right.
When I was growing
Right.
up, I had that sense of, I didn't have a fear for tomorrow.
Right.
When we were growing up, we lost that after God left the schools,
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion.
And the reason that I know that what you're saying is true because the word of the Lord says that, well, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no man cometh unto the Father but by me. And because we said that we are one nation under God, that was the premise. That's how we came over here. We wanted to worship freely. Well, when we removed God out of our institutions, basically we basically said, well, we don't need you anymore. We don't have to serve you anymore. And so whatever comes or whoever comes, whatever their opinion is, because we want to be liked, because we want to be accepted, we've compromised. We've compromised our morals and we've compromised our godly standards simply because we want to be loved and we want to be accepted by other nations. And we have that same problem with individuals. Individuals will compromise their morals, their ethics, their emotions, their own upbringing because they want to be accepted,
But
and that's
that's-
become the norm.
But doesn't that acceptance mean that we lose our identity or we surrender our identity? It seems as though this generation, and part of our generation,
Mm-hmm.
has lost its sense of who I am, who we are. And because of that, we now don't question we had our values. We're a Christian country. We are a country of Americans. If one person messed with America, we attack. Now, if anybody messes with America, we pay you off.
Right.
We say, oh, please don't hurt me.
Right.
And then we walk away.
Mm-hmm.
What happened with what's on the dollar bill? It says, "In God
We
we
trust.
trust."
which they are,
Which
we
they
all are.
are.
So why don't we put our trust in God? Why have we sat around and just allowed people to change what we were structured on, what this country was structured on? You
Well,
know,
there's been conversations about getting rid of that. They're taking away the seal "In God We Trust." They wanted to get rid of it in courts.
Yeah, right.
Remember that they wanted to. There was a movement to eliminate it from our dollar bill. And I'm thinking, so to me, that's a movement to go further into losing who we are. We, instead of having faith and belief like we were founded to, our forefathers, they said, "In God we trust" for a reason. That was put on our dollar bills. That was put above every court.
Right.
There was the lady with the blindfold on and the you
blind
know,
justice.
thank you. And it's just, these were for reasons
Right.
of faith and belief, and we've seemed to stray away from that. Now everybody thinks that something is a fact. Well, unfortunately, people don't realize that taste, opinion, and perspective is not a fact.
It's not a fact. Right.
You know, if my wife and I go to a restaurant and it's 72 degrees and she's cold, to her it's a fact it's cold, but to me, 72 degrees is comfortable. You know? So everybody has their own taste, opinion, and perspective, but one person's fact is another person's opinion.
I think it's because we surrender too much power and authority to the government. The government is in everything. The government is in our marriages. The government is in the raising of our children. The government, everything. We surrender being children of God to being children dependent on the government. Okay, I'm going to go to the government for my pay. I'm going to go to the government for retirement. I'm going to go to the government for
Solve all my problems.
Everything
All my
gets
problems.
solved with the government. And basically, it used to be a time that the church, the pastor was that was the go-to person. I'm going to go and we're going to fellowship together as a community. If someone had a need in the body of Christ, we came together as a body of Christ and we met the need. You brought food or you went to see about that person. You had nursemaids and midwives in the church. You had doctors in the church. You had farmers, organizers. Everybody that was in the church offered up their gift. They offered up their services to help their fellow man. Now, everybody's just selfish. It's all about me. It's all about mine. Me, 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 me. That 2-year-old mentality. Me, 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 me. Mine, mine, mine. Well, now it's,
That's so
well,
true.
we'll let Uncle Sam take care of her. But as long as I'm working and I've got my little pennies stored up, it doesn't matter what happens to the next person. Don't mention tithing, then all of a sudden everybody want to leave the church. Or they just want money. Don't say anything about being a nonprofit because now everybody wants to scrutinize where all of the dollar bills are going. And as you're saying, we're getting further and further away from the principle of "In God We Trust." God, one faith, one Lord, one baptism. And someone said, well, you're a stickler on God, 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 God. That's who I am. I mean, that's what I was born and raised to believe in.
You don't have to justify that. Your only response should say yes.
And it is, yes, but this is what
Okay.
happens with a lot of people. They feel pressured not to say, this is who I am. And I think what we're trying to relate to everybody is stop feeling the pressure to not be who God made you to be. The government didn't give me my identity. Gave me some digits and some numbers.
Well, I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And what we're talking about, let's bring in some economics here. And because,
Okay.
when we're looking at what we're talking with the human identity, the identity of an American, we used to produce something. People used to hop on a rubber raft in shark-infested waters
Just to get here.
just to
Just to
get here
yes.
and take that chance
Yes.
to being something's lunch
Yes.
to be here because they had an opportunity. There was no guarantee. They had an opportunity to be better, to have something more. That was something. That dream was America. In the late 70s, I'd say 1976, 1978, the American middle class represented 72 to 73% of the entire economic core of America. The middle class was it. It was the backbone. It was the sergeants of the military. Today, the statistic is so skewed. You could get it between 26 and 30, no higher than 30%. So the middle class, the gap between rich and poor in America today, because we've lost our identity, we have lost what we stand for. We've allowed our jobs to go overseas because we didn't restructure. We allowed us to become a nation who wants to be reality stars versus You know, versus promoting other countries, promote and make rock stars out of engineers and biologists and chemists and doctors, people who make a difference in society. You know, there is no, a person who is a reality TV star makes no difference in anything. They just want instant gratification and instant fame because they
Right.
think that that makes them something.
Exactly.
Where if you're an engineer and you find a new water, how to bring water to somebody who doesn't have it, or you're a doctor and you find a new vaccine that saves lives, you know, you make a difference. We have that identity. I think we need to go back to basics, is what I keep talking about. And what does that mean? You know, there's no way we're going to go back to the 1950s.
Right.
But it's about taking the family core, the community ideals. You know, what makes a good community. And look at the past to see what the traits, the top 10 and top 20 traits of making a strong community, a strong family, and trying to integrate those into today's society with all the technology and everything that we have. Trying to, you know, promote the device-free dinners and lunches and play dates, to try to bring family back. And because right now we've become so skewed, I can sit here and never see another person ever again in my life because I can order all my food to be delivered to me.
Right.
I can order my groceries here. I can pay all my bills electronically. There's no excuse for me to leave this building.
So we're moving to the George Jetson.
And now we're not developing those human skills, that interacting, that
Exactly.
human condition.
You know,
So we lost our identity.
and that's a good point, because what happens now with modern technology and everything, everybody wants to push the button, but the humanistic things of life have to be implemented, and that's the getting together, the gathering of people,
Right.
to be able to
Amen.
to
Amen.
sit and have a conversation, no matter whether you're white, black, Chinese, or whatever.
Doesn't
It
matter.
doesn't matter. It's not you know, you say people run to come to this country. It's the democracy that the people want. They want the freedom to do what they want to do. However, at the same time, with having the freedom to do what you want to do, you have to have the respect also, and you have to have the knowledge that there is something going on in the atmosphere that makes everything right.
And
Amen.
not only say respect, you say respect, but what about responsibility and accountability? Nobody wants to be responsible. Nobody wants to be accountable anymore. I mean, people change. People are in and out of relationships. People are in and out of jobs. People
That is
change
so
like
true,
the
man.
weather, and it is so disturbing. You know, in our generation, and I'm not sure about, you know, the generation that's watching, but when we were coming up, there was a thing called consistency. There was a thing called stability. You weren't like a leaf blown with the wind. You know, the word of the Lord tells us we should be like a tree that is planted by the rivers of the water. Established, our roots go deep. No one stays stable anymore. So, I mean, you know, and I could speak from a pastor. People church hop like they change underwear. People change jobs, and they think nothing about the responsibility that's going to fall on other people the minute you walk away from the job. They don't think about, well, if I leave this job and I keep changing jobs, you know, eventually when I get older, I won't have enough pennies, you know, saved up for retirement or disability.
No, they're not looking at that.
They're not looking at that picture. They're looking at instant gratification, like instant mashed potatoes. If you don't sing a song that I like, I change the channel. If I don't like the food that you serve, I just go across the street to the next place.
That is
You know,
the new norm.
That's the norm. The norm is, you know, we're sitting here talking, and, you know, we were talking before we even started the camera. We were just sitting here talking like, you know, mature adults. And, you know, but now when it comes time for dinner used to be at a certain time of the night. And we will watch TV at a certain time of the night. You know, people think that that's flaking crazy.
After your homework.
After you did your homework, after you did your chores, after you got your stuff ready for school,
Device
you know,
free.
you would sit down, device free. But now what do we have? We're sitting at the table, and parents allow this. You're trying to talk to your children about school, and you allow your children to talk to their friends while they're texting, and they're like, yeah, ma, ma, yeah, whatever, ma. And at the end of the night, where is the love? Where is the affirmation? Where is the touching?
Yes.
Where's the touching? Where is the intimacy? Husbands and wives.
Yeah.
I mean, the phones, the tablets, the computers. I mean, everything is getting in between. You know, everything is getting in between us. Sometimes we look up and the children have grown up, and you go, where has time gone? It went with your job. It went with them getting involved in school activities. there used to be a time when we were accountable and we were responsible, but now no one demands that anymore.
There's no responsibility. How many times have we seen on the TV, just the three of us, where somebody, the kids are just do something outstanding, do something wrong, outrageous, and because of what we allow, we teach.
Mm-hmm.
We allow these behaviors to happen. We allow these things so that way we're teaching the kids, saying, well, it's okay. Nobody's stepping in anymore.
Right.
We always hear, oh, I didn't realize that Johnny was going to do that. I didn't realize that Susie Q was going to do that.
Yes.
Well, that's a tragedy in itself. Because we did a series, on this as well, but we also did something about, being interactive, family values.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're so distracted, like you said. We're so engulfed in what's not important. The day-to-day things.
Well, I'm
No,
sorry
please.
to interrupt, but
No, please, go ahead.
it starts with the parenting.
Okay.
You want to talk to the kids. Okay, well, you just don't want to get, hey, here you go, here's an iPad, and go over there and play, or whatever.
Right.
We got into that though because it's so simple. Johnny, I don't want to get in call. I'm engulfed in my life, and I don't. Why do you have children if you don't want to be involved? I agree with you so much.
Oh, wow.
Why do you have children if you don't want to be involved with them? Because they give these people the gadgets, just like you're saying, just to give. Oh, Johnny, okay, hey, young man, I know you're 5 years old and you need me, but I'm busy with my life because Susie said something bad about me today, so I need to deal with it. And here's an iPad. Go take it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So are you calling parents selfish?
Yes,
no, I'm not.
I
Yes.
am.
I'm not. Well,
Yes.
I'm not going to say.
Yes.
I'll do it for him. We have become selfish.
So are you saying, Red, that we have a generation of selfish selfish parenting where, like you said, they're giving them the devices and they're saying go play. They're being raised by Barney. They're being raised by daycare. They're being raised by the television, and then they say what you say. I didn't know that my son had those thoughts. I didn't know that my son had those traits. So you said it goes back to the parenting. So have we now created an irresponsible generation of
There's
parents?
no camaraderie. There's no camaraderie between children and parents.
Really? They're my friend.
Yeah, no.
My mom is my friend.
Yes, your mom should be your mom.
Yeah, but that's your friend, but yet still, are you going to listen to your friend all the time?
Yeah, exactly. Your mom should be your mom, not your friend.
Yeah, there you
You
go.
know, and when they get older, that's when they, enter adults, and you can start being friends then.
But
You never really stop being a parent.
today's norm, that's not today's norm. Today's norm is that's my friend. I go shopping with my daughter and I hang out with my daughter and I try to look like my daughter and try to dress like my daughter or vice versa. The script, we start, what do you want to say? We start,
Emulating.
priming them, emulating them, we start dressing them up as little models. They don't even get to be kids anymore
That's right.
because we're dressing them up and we're pimping them out to modeling agencies. They don't even know what it is to play with a Barbie doll anymore, or drive
I had a work
a truck,
associate that
you
did that
know?
once. She had a 4-year-old kid, she said, and I was saying, because she kept forcing this 4-year-old child to go to, interviews and stuff for to be on TV. And she said, yes, this is my daughter's dream. Your daughter's 4 years old.
So like,
Your
how
daughter
is
is
that
4
her
years old.
dream?
You're basically trying, because you failed,
Yes.
in your dream, you're trying to make your daughter, live your life, instead of having her own life. But, it's just, we bring it all back into, we've lost our identity. As Americans, we used to have a community that took care of each other. When I was growing up, if I did something wrong in town, by the time I got home, I had already been reprimanded 20,000 times, and I was worried about Dad at that point because,
Yes.
I've already been reprimanded by everybody along the way.
But
because
if
the
you
community took care of each other.
if you look at islanders,
Mhm.
that it's the people in that village, the people in that community right there watch out for each other.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
That's
So
right.
so now we are our brother's keeper. So now we're supposed to look out for the children and look out for each other.
But we become a society that everybody is now, that they don't trust that. Because
That's
now if Bob said something to Susie, who was my next door neighbor,
Oh, I got in my feelings. now.
oh,
Yes.
Bob, that's highly inappropriate.
Yes.
Whereas when I was growing up, that next door neighbor would have no problem putting that
No,
somewhere.
Sure
Yeah.
wouldn't.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was acceptable, because all my next door neighbor would have to do is say, hey, Mr. Hebert, your son stepped out of line, so I
Right.
took care of it. And Mr. Hebert would have said, hey, great job, thank you, appreciate you.
Mhm.
But nowadays, if that would have happened, the person would be arrested for abuse.
Exactly.
I mean, it's
No,
just,
the
Exactly.
parent, no, not only the person, but the
But
parent.
the parent,
Oh,
yes,
is that
the
true?
parents,
Listen,
yes.
listen, haven't you heard these stories that you get ready to reprimand the child, and then the child says, well, you better not hit me, because I'm gonna call DCF.
how does a child know about that?
Okay.
And then when you get in front of the courtroom, it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, now I'm reprimanding my child. Well, you just can't do it like this, and you can't do it like that. Hold it. Spare the rod,
Spoil the child.
That's
Yep.
right.
I mean,
We had
there's
something
no-
called a
there's no-
woodshed when I was growing up.
Yeah,
Yes.
man. Listen, even in school,
I remember the paddle.
I've had my share. I've had my share. I've had my share. You put 2 hands on the table and,
Yes,
and
sir.
stand up and bend it over. So now, discipline. Yeah.
You just brought us back some memories. I'm 5'6", but I always thought I was 6 foot because I got kicked in the butt so much. I spent so much time in the air. I thought I was taller than I really was.
If we did that today, we would lose our jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Oh,
remember,
you
I
recommend-
remember
oh my
those
God.
big, do you remember those big pencils with the eraser?
Mhm.
And then, they were teaching you to print, they were teaching you to do cursive, and if you didn't do it right, you either got a paddle, a tap in your hand with the ruler, or you got your knuckles popped with those pencils. But you know what, we learned, I mean, and not only that, guys, we learned social skills. We learned how to interact.
Problem
As
solving.
Children, we learned problem solving.
Nowadays, they don't know how to do
Now-
anything. Everybody gets a participation trophy.
Exactly.
What?
They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to respect each other. They don't know how to respect